Hi there, Taurus. Welcome to your May 2019 General Tarot reading. My name is Raina. Happy birthday to all of you, even those born in April, because I'm recording this in April, so I'll even say hi to you and happy birthday. Here's your card. What did I tell you? Oh my gosh, there's another card that's your card. So it's your month and it's your card, so. Or cards, I should say. Oh my lord. Talk about, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, there we go. Well, we have 6 cards here, and 5 of them are major arcana cards. So you do the math, you tell me if this is going to be an eventful month. But I will say, Taurus, you know, this is a general reading. I was going to joke and say when I was picking those cards that I get paranoid when I do Taurus, because I think it was a Taurus person who noted that I was picking the cards off camera and kind of questioning that. So whenever I do Taurus, I always make sure to do it on camera. That tangible proof that an earth sign seems to require. But you saw me, and you saw how many I picked, so that's pretty amazing. So let's just go through here. The heart of the matter is the hierophant, and this is your card. It could be saying, you know, this is the month of my solar return, or the new moon, new beginnings, new cycle for the next 12 months. The Hierophant is also a card of marriage and tradition, even like broader than marriage, just talking about tradition, doing things the old-fashioned way that everybody does, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of mentality. And specifically with marriage, because that's one of these issues nowadays that we question whether or not it's still valid, whether or not it still means anything, if it's meaningful in 2019. And so that might be going through your head as well in some way. Do I conform to tradition, or do I do things my own way? I think, on the whole, Taurus is a more conservative sign. And, you know, this is your card, so that, you know, it better be, because you better be whatever that card represents. The Hierophant also is a card of higher education, as well as, obviously, having some kind of religious connection. So these could be themes for you. Maybe you're thinking of going back to college. Maybe you're filling out applications because this is going to be when you first go to college. And maybe you're going first to college and you're 30 years old and you've never been, you know, you didn't go when you were 18. This can be some sort of religious training. If you are, I would even put something like a yoga teacher. It doesn't have to be, but I will say that, well, you know, it's funny, I was going to say more traditional, but yoga is traditional. In the Western world, we have our own religious traditions, but in the Eastern world, yoga has been around for thousands of years, so it definitely isn't something that just was invented, you know, 30 years ago. So that is kind of like the theme here, the overall theme. In the past position, we have the Star card. To me, you know, this is such a hopeful card. The interesting thing, though, about this card is that it is a card of healing and things like that. So in order for somebody to heal, it means that they may have been through a time when they needed to heal. And this is also a card of hope restored. Well, if you restore something, it means that you didn't have much of it a while ago. So maybe you're somebody that's going back to church after many years of kind of like turning away from God. Maybe that's what the hierophant is that you've had the spiritual reawakening. Or maybe, maybe you never went to church or never believed in God. Maybe you're an atheist and you had some kind of experience that healed you and now you go. I really think that some people get angry at God because they have some really traumatic experience when they're young and they just push it away. Or maybe even like, going to religious school and having an abusive situation with church, or even like, some kind of, abuse by a religious figure. That's, it's, to me, that is such a horrible thing because that could turn somebody away from God. So maybe you had an experience along those lines and something happened where you now forgive this person, and you realize that you overreacted and you made it about, everything is corrupt. Everything is, I'm just going to turn away from everything. And by the way, the star card can relate to a loved one who has crossed over. So if you have had any kind of supernatural experiences, or even just like an inner knowing that there is somebody that you are connected to, maybe like a family member or a spouse that has passed away or something like that, and you really felt their presence, even though you don't have any proof, you didn't have a vision, that may have prompted you to go back to church or something along those lines, whatever your church is. It's funny that I'm recording this right before Easter. So, it could just be something where you're having this spiritual awakening or reawakening. The higher message is the Empress. And I always joke about the Empress, having watermelon slices on her gown. But they're actually pomegranates, according to someone. The one thing about those being pomegranates is that pomegranates don't have green on them, so I don't get that. Maybe when they're on the tree, they have some kind of like leaves that surround them or something. But in any case, there's a symbol for Venus, that is your ruler. So the Empress is the Earth Mother, the archetype of the Earth Mother, the mother in general, the creative force. So the mother, the artist, and as the higher message in this situation, if we talk about marriage, you might say to yourself that you really just want to have this life. And so you're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Maybe you feel like marriage comes first, and then I, have a child. I don't want to have a child and then wonder if I'm ever going to have a committed relationship. I don't want to do it what you might consider backwards. And perhaps that has been something that has been going around in your head based on the teachings of the Hierophant, and maybe these are teachings that you rebelled against when you were younger, that you're starting to see the value in now. And so it's very interesting, because I think that I don't know why, I was thinking about this myself, that I think we're kind of, there's like kind of like this rebirth in more of a traditional influence. Like we've gone so far that we're kind of coming back. And it's funny that I got this spread because I was just thinking about this the other day. But the other thing too, the star card, I should have mentioned that the star card connects with Aquarius. So, even if the star card, I wanted to mention that in case there's somebody in your life that's an Aquarius. But the other thing too is you may have represented Aquarius more. Maybe you kind of were a little bit of a bohemian at one time. You kind of were a little bit, not conforming to the traditional values that you were raised, and now you're kind of coming full circle. You're doing what you were raised to do, and that's because you are looking for more of a permanent situation, especially if you're starting a family or you want to. Maybe not now, but at some point. Now, of course, people watching this are at different phases of life. So it can simply be, if you're somebody who is a more mature woman, that you have this desire to be somebody who is treated like a woman, and perhaps, the Empress is really a card of femininity. And I can't remember if somebody attached her to the divine feminine, but that idea that we are going in a direction of women imitating men and stuff like that. And I don't want to, get into, all that sociology and gender roles and all that stuff, because, I don't think that we have to be bound by those. But by the same token, I think younger women have been kind of conditioned to believe that it's wrong to have that part of themselves that is kind of passive. The Empress is going to be more of a passive influence, where they're not always trying to take charge, and they're just kind of allowing things to happen. And that is, I think that's very important for everyone, is that you have, here's another card, the High Priestess is another version of that feminine energy that is not about doing, it's about being. And, the Empress is also about sensuality. Now, you notice I didn't say sexuality, because there's senses. We have senses. And, just being able to appreciate, it's connected to the second chakra, the pleasure center. And sometimes religion, cuts us off from that and says it's wrong, right? And sometimes ambition, which is connected to the third chakra, cuts us off from that, because we think that it makes us weak if we have desires. Just like, the third chakra is about power, and sometimes people that are interested in power, they deprive themselves, of pleasure, because they feel like that is kind of keeping them from success, because they have to work. Maybe they work very long hours. So the Empress is about being able to relax and being able to just like kind of be in that state where you can appreciate life from leisure, not from this sense of like go, go, go all the time. So it might be that you, even in that case too, the hierophant could be about you being taught that you're supposed to work very hard, those puritanical values, and you feel that sense of maybe you like, if you're a woman who wants a child, or even a man who may, desire to raise a child and be a stay-at-home father, and be that nurturer in the family. and not have to go out and work, and those kinds of issues. Like, is it, that might even be more of the case than the woman staying at home, where it's like, is this traditional? Is this okay? And kind of thinking about it in those terms. Boy, if any of you men, can relate to that, please let me know, because that would be an absolute rush to read that this is actually speaking to any man. What crosses you is represented by the Page of Pentacles. This can be a message that has to do with money. Maybe you have, maybe this is even like, for some of you, a corporate job with the hierophant, or a government job that you've been waiting on, and you're trying to start that job and you can't. Oh, by the way, I want to say one thing too, because the Page of Pentacles is a card of the student. And like I mentioned, I think I mentioned you enrolling in college. So it could be that there is some issue with financial aid, with this, well, I'm reading it as a reversed card because it's in the challenge position. So make sure, if you're somebody who is filling out those endless forms, that you do everything correctly, because this could mean that they reject it, they send it back to you, and it delays the process. Now, luckily, we're talking about the month of May, so unless you're doing this for the summer, you can still get it ironed out. Who knows? I mean, maybe you filled it out during the Mercury retrograde back in March, and you get that notice that nobody wants that says, oh, you forgot to actually sign it, or you didn't give us all the information we need. The Page of Pentacles can be a small sum of money. Maybe this has to do with tuition or something like that, which usually isn't too small of a sum of money these days. But one of the things that I would say, if you have your plans thwarted, is to understand that there might be a better time, divine timing, and perhaps what seems like it's a setback is actually a blessing in disguise. So that's one of the reasons why reverse cards or challenge positions, they have to be looked at in the right way, because it really isn't about, oh, this is terrible, this means that all my plans are not going to happen. No, not at all. I mean, I can remember when I went back to college in my 30s, and I had those experiences myself, we were jumping through hoops and trying to do this, get recommendations and do all this stuff, and sometimes it was delayed, and I was like, okay. The other thing too is that this could be some kind of a message, maybe like an email, or somebody read your resume if you're looking for work, and somehow it doesn't go through, or there's some kind of a problem. Understand that these can be like these little petty little holdups, and just don't take things too much to heart. The advice is represented by the High Priestess. Okay, so we have, this is the more mystical version. We have this guy, the Hierophant, and he's more of the, the mainstream religious leader. The High Priestess is very much that esoteric, although I think the High Priestess and the Magician are couples. And the Magician represents the outer manifestation, and this is the inner manifestation of you're doing your inner magic, or your spiritual work. The Magician, I think, is more manifesting on the physical level. And so what this advice would be Taurus, is be still and know. If you have something that is up in the air, and maybe that's what's represented by the Page of Pentacles, don't believe that, don't feel that if it doesn't happen when you thought it was going to, that means it won't happen. And Taurus people are usually pretty good about being patient and not freaking out too quickly. But you may feel, maybe because it is your birthday month, or a lot of your birthday months, and you're having your new moon, that you're just raring to go. You just want to do all these new things and make all these fresh starts. And it's something that, we can't control the outer world, but we can control how we react to it. And that's the important thing. So maybe it's time to really start practicing your meditation and doing things like that, and not worrying about other things, whether it's a relationship, a new relationship, or a new job, or a new course of studies, a new college situation. But saying, all of that stuff is going to work out in its own time. I'm going to do something, because I have a soul. My soul is eternal. And I'm going to like nourish my soul, because my body will take care of itself. It always has, and it always will. But my soul, I think it really needs tending to right now. The outcome, Death card. This is a card of transformation. It's very interesting. Yes, I just, Uranus flashed in my mind. I was thinking of that transit. And isn't it funny? In the month of your new moon, you get the Death card for the final card. Uranus in your sign right now, for the next, 7 years or so, Taurus, is injecting a real wild card type of energy into you. And you're the kind of sign that is so different than that. Oh, it's funny, because the star card, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And that's in the past position. And recently, Uranus went into Taurus for good. It had gone out, it had gone in last year and then retrograded. So there is going to be, I think, by the time the end of this transit happens, some of you might not be able to recognize yourself, even physically, because this is going to occur in your first house. Other people may be like, what came over Taurus? And so death, people just naturally go to physical death. But this is like maybe the death of the old self. And it's exciting. I mean, I always like to see that card, because I think that it means that if I or anybody else transforms, we're going to be a better version of ourselves. And we're also, the other great thing about that is we're also going to be more sure of ourselves, self-empowered. So it's like literally all good. So I really wish you a great birthday and a great transformation, Taurus. And it's not, I'm not talking about an instant transformation. I'm talking about, I'm sure it will be a gradual one. But something that you can really feel is to your benefit. And that it's opening up your world even more. In May, you are going to have the full moon is going to be in Scorpio on May 18th, and that's going to hit your 7th house of committed partnership. So in that sense, I mean, some of you may be moving on from a long-term relationship, and maybe that's why you get the hierophant, because your marriage is really something that you're focusing on. And if you're somebody who, has felt a loved one who has crossed over, kind of giving you certain advice and telling you that you need to acknowledge that you're unhappy in a long-term relationship, then you may take steps that end an old life so that you can begin a new life. And it's not necessarily easy for a Taurus to kind of change. I'm Taurus rising, and I have a lot of mutable energy, and it's like, I can't believe what a powerful influence that is. But there's something cozy about Taurus, something very stable, and like the empress, very languid, very, very like chill, not in a hurry. And so that makes it harder to like upset the apple cart, when you have this kind of a laid back type of a vibe. You just want to chill and you don't want to make waves. And sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to, so you can, sail on that sea of bliss. To follow your bliss, you have to make a few waves. So anyway, Taurus, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a personal relationship, if you'd like a personal relationship with me, no. If you'd like a personal reading, please check the link below. Happy birthday once again. Take care. Bye.